Hello, I am so excited to introduce you to my friend and brilliant entrepreneur and someone who actually participated in Arrive to You, Bianca. Bianca has two incredible fucking businesses that we will go into in a sec. I'll let her tell you about them. Um, but Bianca, can we start with actually, I think I've told you this before, but I don't know if everyone else knows this. You actually inspired the entire program. It was
I
you
did.
that you did because
Yeah.
Bianca and I were hanging out and we're doing a coastal walk, and we
Mhm.
ran into a friend of mine, and I introduced you to her, and she asked
You
you what
did.
you did, and what did you say?
Oh, like depends on the day. I'm
But
like,
you
oh, I do
really
a bit of this, I do
downplayed
a bit of
her.
that.
Yeah. But it
Yeah.
wasn't, it was just even the tone of voice you use, and like
Mm.
it was almost like a wall went up because I'm used to
Yeah.
seeing you self-express and you're funny
Mhm.
and you're like engaging, but it was like that version of you wasn't there when she asked that question.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
it is. So
I,
how
I
go?
no, I was just gonna say, like, I very much was a person that would not only like not want to feel like I was dominating a conversation, but I am also someone that, like, I truly believe that everyone has a story. When you get to know them. And I always want to know about other people. Like, I want to give people, or let other people feel like they have a space to be able to share their story. Um, and I suppose kind of in doing that, I took that opportunity away from myself, um, which Arrived helped with. But yeah, it was on that coastal walk, and I still have the voice memo, like the voice note that I recorded of you, like, absolutely pummeling me. I was like, oh, okay, that's my motivational speech, like, forever. It's like a two
That
minute
was so
Amy
funny.
rant. And I was like, okay, whenever I'm feeling a little bit flat, I'll just listen to that. And yeah, I'm back up.
That's amazing. That cracks me up
Yeah.
so much. And it was after that conversation when I walked away from you, I was like,
Mm,
this because I knew like you're one of many people that go through that. And I watched that
yeah.
happen too. And it's such a detriment to yourself and to other
Mm,
people because when you like you it doesn't have to be like just about the other person. You can still have
mhm.
someone experience that and be open yourself. In
Yeah.
fact, I believe that being open yourself actually invites other people to be that open with you, right?
Yes. And I've very much found the same kind of since doing Arrived. And since putting all of the things that we spoke about kind of in place, like, not only in my business but just in everyday life as well, like, by showing, I think it's like by showing that it is a safe space, or that I am a safe space, people feel more comfortable to open up. So I suppose it's like law of reciprocity. Yeah, reciprocating, like what you're putting out is like what you're getting back in. I don't know,
Yes.
however it is, but yeah, I think it was like, if I could show people that I was willing to be vulnerable, then it would let them feel safe to also be vulnerable. Yeah.
Absolutely. Which leads to deeper connection, right?
Yeah,
You
that's exactly
bypass
right.
that surface level bullshit,
Yeah,
small
yeah,
talk. That's
exactly.
obliterated. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
correct.
And and I think as well, like a big thing with your story and what
Mhm.
you've achieved in your business, I
Yeah,
understand how sometimes it can feel like we're just like talking about ourselves and talking ourselves up constantly. But it's so much more than that because what you've done in your business is
mhm.
extraordinary. And the
Mm.
way you've gone about it is
Yeah,
extraordinary. And by actually sharing it with people, you're literally mapping out steps that
yeah,
they can do in their own way to have the same kind of success that you have.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's cool, like, because I like both of my businesses happened very organically. Like Glow and Gifts, I've had for quite a few years now, and I suppose I to myself, I would say that I've had it as it is for like 2 years since I did the rebrand. I think since that rebrand, it's been a whole lot more, like I feel like a weight in a way has been lifted off my shoulders, because I very much know who I am, who my business is, and what my business stands for. And it's very much a lot of what I stand for as a person. But it's like it's not just a gift hamper that you've thrown together. It's not like a gift hamper full of foodie items that ends up in the pantry. Like, it's very much purpose-led gifting, and it's like, it means something, you know? And it was kind of through the evolution of that business, and very much being a solopreneur, and it's all just being me. But I was fucking sick of being on my own. And all of my, like, you know this, Amy, but so many of my small business owner friends are based in Perth. And as much as I would do my best to get over to WA, like when I could, I wanted the community feeling that I had when I was in Perth, in Sydney. And like, yeah, where there's a bajillion people here in Sydney and on the East Coast and whatnot, but I never felt like I fit in at any like networking event. It was all like a typical BNI, or everyone would be like in suit and tie, or like you would always have to feel like you needed to be like your best dressed, your best self, like put yourself out there, and like swapping business cards, and that is not me. And I was like, oh, like I still want to talk to people, I still want to network with people, and genuinely connect, more than I'm going to swap business cards with you. Like, I want to know, like, how is your day going? Are you having a shit day? Did you have a shit morning? I don't know. But like, we can have, like you said, connect on that deeper level, rather than like a surface of like, yeah, hi, I'm good, how are you? And yeah, it was kind of through that Social Spark events came about, because I was like, well, if the networking that I want doesn't exist, I'm gonna fucking create it, and people can come to me. Now
and
they do.
Did.
And
yes.
they did. And yeah, so in June, like last month, I just celebrated Social Spark Event's first birthday, and we sold out a venue. And from like next month's event in August, I needed to move venues because I needed a bigger space. And it's like everything just kind of came full circle, and I found my people, and they have found me, and like they're telling their friends, and like it's just a really natural growth of the business. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't have had, I suppose, the success that it's had, if I didn't have the support from some really incredible business owners. And I think doing Arrived with you, like that 5-week period, really put some things into light for me. And I don't know, I suppose, like I said to you before we started recording, like it was the universe like dropping little hints at me, and it was probably like, at what point are you gonna fucking listen to me, Bianca? And so I eventually listened, like, gave in and listened to the universe, and here we are.
Yeah, because so many interesting things happen. I mean, like one of the things, there are so many things I'm so fucking proud of you that happened during Arrive, because I know it's deeply uncomfortable. Like, and you said yes and went in without even really realizing the full extent probably of what was going to be involved.
Yeah, you were like, hey, so you inspired this thing. Do you want to be part of it? And I was like, of course. Like, if I inspired it, like I should probably participate. And then I got like a 5-week hiding.
It's not all bad though. Like, I know everyone's like, it's brutal.
I think it's more of like the confrontation that you don't realize is coming, but like in a really good way, because you, like, I suppose in the back of my mind, I knew all of these things were sitting there, right? But because it was like just in me, I could push it to the side, and keep doing what I thought was right. But it was kind of having you there, especially with all of your experience as well. It was like, but like, it's just not in alignment with what I was trying to do, and who I am as a person, and that's why things felt so off, I suppose. And yeah, kind of having like permission in a weird way. And it was, I don't know, like it was like, yeah, you can do all of these things. and you can have the success that you want. And yeah, it was like all of those blocks just needed to be confronted with someone that wasn't going to take no for an answer. And you were that someone.
When I want to be like really clear, when I am not taking no for an answer, and when I'm confronting you and going like head to head with you, it's not because of what I think you should do or what I think is right. It's because what you say to me isn't matching your actions. So I hear what you're saying, like I can hear what it is that you really want. And then we have stories and like programming and belief systems that often like keep us safe and small and protected and hidden because that's what our brain does, right? But I am an advocate for you having what it is that you truly want, even though you're the reason why you can't have it. That's where it gets confronting, right?
Yeah. And I suppose like in that as well, it's kind of like you also have this like weird ability to hear the things that we're not saying. So it's like that in conjunction with hearing what we are saying, and then our actions as well as like, hold up. If I piece together all of these things, this is what I'm getting. And then like to present that to me in a way. And then it's like, oh, well, this is what it looks like.
Are you going to do it or not? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, do you want it or not? And I think like I was actually blown away during Arrived because you, for fun, as if she's not busy enough with two fucking businesses, for fun, Bianca was doing a law degree.
Yeah.
For fun. Which I love because you were that interested in it and you wanted to dive into it. But what happened that had you go, you know what, I'm going to let that go for now?
Yeah, there was, interestingly, because you did say it was doing, because I am no longer. A part of me, like the reason I went into it, yes, it was for fun because I was genuinely interested. But also like being a high school dropout, it was never anything that was like ever going to be on anyone's radar. It was like, she didn't even finish high school. Like, why is she going to A, why is she going to university? B, why is she doing a law degree? That's kind of wild. So I suppose in a bit of a way, it was like a fuck you to everyone.
Yeah.
Look at me now.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, some things happened with the university, and like kind of how I mentioned earlier, the like little signs from the universe. I started to piece together all of these signs, and I was like, maybe now is not the right time for this. Or like not even not the right time, but maybe it's like not as high on my priority list as I think it is. And I kind of took that sign and was like, okay, I'm going to park that and just focus, like that time, focus on my two businesses. And that's what I did and what I'm doing, and it's going great.
That's huge. It's huge, especially when, and I'm speaking from my personal experience as well when I use this wording, it's like you feel like you've got something to prove, right? Because 100%. Also like I'm also a high school dropout, and then I'm also a single mum, and not also, you're not a single mum, but you know what I mean? Like I've got all these things where it's like I had this constant need to have to prove myself to the world, but actually the only person you need to like be okay with is you. That's it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that takes exactly massive pressure, and it was like off.
A, it takes a massive pressure off, but B, it was like also having the permission, like that is okay.
And there's nothing to prove. Amazing. One of the other massive shifts that you went through, which I think is probably one of the hardest things to let go of, is having to work really hard to have a business, like everything having to feel really hard to earn money, everything, like busting your ass, which comes from proving something, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's like hard work equals like the results kind of thing.
Yes.
And I very much, but like at the same time, I've always been like a work smarter, not harder. So it's been like a really weird, like seesaw, I suppose. And I remember when I was doing Arrived, I was actually working through creating a 52 email sequence. But I felt like I was cheating it. I was like, what? Like if I'm doing 52 emails in one go, and like that was to be automated like once a week for 52 weeks. Like, so I was doing the work for a year. Like the moment I switched on the automation, I was like, is this okay? Like, I couldn't, I was like, whoa, like, how am I not sitting down every week to do an email? Which at the same time, I also wasn't doing because I didn't want to sit down every week to do the email. So I was like, it was a double-edged sword for a long while there. But yeah, like at the same time, when I turned on that automation, I was like, oh, this is liberating. Like, I don't have to think about this for like a year. Like,
it's
this
done.
is great.
It gets to be easy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly right. Like, it gets to be easy. And like with that email automation, if someone hasn't become a client or made a purchase in that 52 weeks, like they were never going to. So then they're going to get tapped out of the automation anyway. And when someone new subscribes, they haven't seen the information before, or even if they have, you need like 25,000 million touch points these days anyway. So it's fine. They can read the same thing again.
Exactly.
So I was like, it's done, and it's an evergreen sequence. And I think that was a very big first step in feeling like it can be easy, and it should be. Why make it harder than it needs to be?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And and I love this example because when I say easy, people think like that I'm saying don't work. I'm not saying don't work. I'm saying work in a way that's going to support you versus wasting hours making shit hard, having to talk yourself up and into even being able to do the goddamn thing because you don't actually want to go do the goddamn thing. So it's like you end up turning it into this massive ordeal. And I worked it out. You lose about 15 hours a month just with that internal tug of war process. Not like you, I worked it out for myself. That's how long I was spending trying to make myself do shit. Versus finding an easier, fun way to do it that gets the same results. It just might look a little bit different. You just have to find, you have to be okay with it. That's it, just you.
That's exactly right. And I like what you said there about like an easier, fun way. Because once there's fun in it, it doesn't feel like it's work anymore. And it's like I going through that 52 email like automation, I was like, this is actually really cool. Like it forms a story almost. So if you're not part of my glowing gifts email sequence, go sign up to it because it's a really cool story. Like it's like it tells you like, if you obviously the goal is to convert to a client, right? But or make a purchase. But at the same time, if you're actually reading the content in the email structure, it just tells a really cool story about my journey of glowing gifts. And I dropped some things about Social Spark in there as well. But it's just really cool to be able to share my story my way. While also like showing the impact that glowing gifts has and can have on other businesses and how to implement gifting into their business.
Yeah, exactly. Which is another one of my favorite topics, customer experience.
Correct. Yeah.
Which every business needs one.
Every business needs one. That's exactly right. And it's like really good customer experience. And this is also why I mentioned earlier, like I'm not just another gift hamper business. I very much lean into like purpose-led gifting. It's like I'm the person, I'm the business you use for gifting when you're gifting for the why. Why are you gifting? It's not because of like I just want to say thank you to my clients. I'm like, but why do you want to say thank you?
It's
you
do
like
it
that deeper level.
Yes,
100%.
You do it.
It's like going to that deeper level than like not this surface crap.
And you've said to me before, it's like when there are no words, when there aren't words to articulate what you want to say, that's where the gift comes in. That's what the gift does. And that is so fucking powerful. Now, so Social Spark events, they've been going for a year. You were running them.
Yeah.
How were you introducing yourself prior to me forcing you to do along the one?
I was like, it was very like it was like a 5-minute introduction, and probably even half of that was like house rules. Like, there's the bathroom, this is the menu, like this is kind of how the day will run. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was very like, I know, I just kind of spat out a few words and was like, let's carry on with the day. I didn't
Yeah.
really share much about myself, or about, I definitely wasn't really talking about glowing gifts, aside from like pointing out that the gift on the table that everyone got to take home, a little surprise and delight, was courtesy of Glowing Gifts, my business. But yeah, I wasn't really talking about my businesses, my journey. I just kind of got into the day, and also because the events had guest speakers. So I was like, again, providing a platform for someone else to share their story. Um,
There's a
but
bit of a
at
theme
the same
happening
time,
here, isn't there?
yeah, there is. Exactly. Well, in the
Don't
past
look at
tense, so
me.
that's nice.
Don't look at
Yeah,
me.
exactly. Yeah, I wanted to be able to give other people the spotlight, as opposed to myself.
Yeah. And at your most recent one, you spent
Hmm.
over 8 minutes talking
Yeah,
about yourself and about your journey.
yeah.
And watching the recording, I was
Mm,
laughing, I was cheering, I was like, it was
yeah.
incredible. How did you feel delivering it, and what kind of response did you get?
Um, by the time I had to deliver it in person, I felt okay, because I had typed it up and I was like walking around my house practicing talking to people, and I was like, this is how I'm going to say this, and this is how I'm going to express this line, and this is how I need to talk about this part. And so I felt okay going into it. I was like, I'm ready to share this story. I still stood there with like a clipboard of pages and pages of paper, because I was like, I need
That's
notes. I was like,
fine.
my brain's
Yeah.
gonna like go all over the place. I need to remind myself to stay on track. um but I got through it all, and it actually felt really empowering to be able to share my story. And the people that, like, there were people that had attended for the first time, and there were people there that had attended like every other event prior, so they knew that this was not a normal thing. um and to everyone that it was their first event, they were like, wow, like there were some really powerful words that you said in that. And I got so many messages after the event of like, thank you so much. Like, I really needed to hear when you said blah, 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 or like, this really resonated with me. And I was like, oh, like, it was just a nice little reminder of like, it's okay to, not only is it okay to be vulnerable, but by me being vulnerable, it, like, I said in the speech that I wanted the events to be a safe space. Then I want you as an attendee to feel like you're in a safe space, like that you're in a safe space to share your story, or to share something that you might be struggling with in business, or to open up about something that you need help with. Um, and by me doing that as well, it helped encourage that. So yeah, it was a lot, but it was also super powerful. And I felt really good at the end of it. It was like nice to be able to share my story.
Yes, because your story and the way you share it is a
Yeah.
literal blueprint for other people's businesses. Like, it is. Like, the whole time I was listening, I was like, this is brilliant, because you, like, one of the things that I love the most about your attitude is like, you just say yes and then you fucking figure it out later. And
Yeah.
that is really how you've gotten here. And I think
Yes.
that that is an essential tool for every business owner, is that
Mm.
attitude, because
Yeah.
that's how I have a business. That's how a lot of
Mhm.
business owners that I know have a business, is through
Yeah.
that attitude. So that one line is
Mhm.
going to go on to not only impact all the people in the room, but the conversations they're going to have
Yeah.
with their friends and family and people in, you know what I mean? Like, you don't
Yeah.
even know how many people you've impacted from
Yeah.
that one interaction. You don't know. You've got no
Yeah.
idea.
Mm. Yeah.
It's
But it's cool.
amazing.
Like, it's, yeah, it's just a reminder as well that you never know what someone else might need to hear. Um, and yeah, like it was just, sorry, go, I can see you want to speak.
And it's not up to you to decide how they're going to interpret it. Because a big thing that you had is like you were so worried about sounding obnoxious as well.
Yeah.
But actually, you don't have an obnoxious bone in your body. So that was never going to happen. But it was that perception, right? That's what you were worried about. And because you had focused on that, you'd withheld all of this. And
Correct.
people missed out, right? So people weren't able to be impacted, and you had no, and like you said, you had no idea what they needed to hear, but you were deciding that it wasn't that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was kind of like I took that away from people before I even realized it. Because like I've been to events and I've attended, and you know, there's always been something that someone said that I'm like, oh, that really stuck with me. And I suppose now, like with my own events, I'm like, I'm that person on the other side of that. So who am I to say what people should or shouldn't need to hear or need, like, have to take away from what I have to say? So I kind of have like flipped the script to now I know what I have to share and the value that I bring to the table. What you choose to take away from that is on you.
Exactly.
And,
so much of the messaging when I'm talking about Arrived is very you focused, but actually Arrived has nothing to fucking do with you. It's about it's really it's all about like the impact and what you're here to do. But I make it you focus, because when you've got that, when you're anchored into who you are and you're fully able to own and accept that, it actually, you're able to open up to the world.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, again, like, who am I to say what you need to hear? You know, like I'll share my story and I'll share everything that I have to share. And if you find something valuable enough to take away from that, then that's brilliant and epic. And I'm so happy. And if you don't, then that's okay. Like maybe someone else can share something great that you can take away from.
Exactly.
So I've also like, I'm now not afraid to not be everyone's cup of tea. That's okay.
I'm just so proud.
But at the same time, like everyone like has a story. Like that's the thing that I come back to, is that everyone has a story. I truly believe that, which is why I love having speakers at the events. So I'm like, I will share my story in like a very condensed version, because even though it was like 8 minutes, it was still a very short version. But I will share what I can. And then I'll bring in other expert speakers to talk about their story, their journey, their business, their expertise. And then I hope that the people that have attended feel safe enough that they can open up and like network, but it's networking done in like a fun way, where you're like, it's like, one of my attendees has quoted it as a fun brunch with friends. Like, when does networking feel like that? Right. Exactly. But you go to these networking events and like, when does it ever feel like a fun brunch with friends? Like, it's like, it's more like, here's your business card. I want, like, here's my business card. I want yours. But
what can you do for me? That's the attitude of those. What can you do for me?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. Whereas I just wanted it to be like, just come and have a bite to eat and have a coffee and talk and see what happens when you just talk.
Yes. Do you know, it's really interesting being in Bali right now, because obviously, like, there are people and they sell things on the beach too, right? And there are two different kinds I've noticed. There are ones that get really aggressive and angry, and like they literally abuse you if you say no. And then there are ones that will sit down and actually connect with you, right? Like human beings, and you start talking and it's like, it's so interesting, because when someone's just like, buy this, buy this, buy this, I need this, and like almost begging, I'm like, oh, I know, and then getting yelled at after, versus having these beautiful connection conversations where I'm learning about them and their family and why they do this, and you know, like, and it's like you build that background of relatedness. By the end of it, I'm like, give me everything here. Like just give it to me. 100%. I've got no room for it.
It's because you've connected on more than like surface level. It's not about the thing, it's about the why.
Exactly. And I just thought the whole time I've been thinking, I was like, this is exactly how business works. If you go into it, and life, right? because even with those like walls up of not wanting to be obnoxious and proving yourself and all of that, you're still going through where it's like, what's in this for me? Whereas when you are fully okay and grounded in who you are, it's more of a like, what can I do for you? Like, how can I connect? And even if it is that connection piece, even if that's it, like the impact of that is that's going to lead to so much more business down the track, because people are going to understand you and feel you and have connected with you in such a deep emotional level. They're going to talk about you, and you've made a new friend.
100%. And do you know what? So many like brilliant business owners have come to these events that I do have so many genuine friendships that have come out of it. And I was like, this is what I wanted. I wanted to make friends. I wanted to make business friends that I could talk to about what I was struggling with in business, or what was going really good, or like, how can I like tweak this, or like, do you need help with anything? Is there anything that I can help you with? And like, now that I have that, I'm like, this is so cool. Like, this is like my little community, and I love it.
It is.
And it's great.
And you made it. You built it. You created it. And they came. Yeah.
And they came.
Amazing. Okay, I could talk to you all day, but I have one final question.
Okay.
If someone is sitting on the fence right now, because I know a lot of people are, and they're looking at Arrived and they're thinking, I just can't right now. Now's not the time. What would you say?
If you're waiting for a right time, you're going to be waiting for a fucking while. That's number one, because there's no right time. But that's already block number one, right? Like, sitting on the fence and being like, oh, this is not for me, like, that's already block number one. So we need to get through that one firstly. And but once you have, like, if that's your first block, like, just think of everything else that you probably don't want to be confronted with. And that's the exact reason why you need to be doing it. And it's like 5 weeks. So it's not an excessively long, like 12-week commitment. Like, it's 5 weeks. And
I made this one 6.
Oh, okay.
Throw it an extra week.
6 weeks. But it's 6 weeks that you're going to see probably like the biggest change that I've ever seen in myself. And if you get what I got out of it, oh, kudos to you. Kudos to you. Because it, like, my intro speeches at my events went from a 30-second, this is who I am, let's carry on with the day, to an over 8-minute introduction speech. And that, I straight up, that would not have happened if I didn't do Arrived with you. It just wouldn't have.
Thank you. I'm very fucking proud of you. You did amazing. You did amazing, especially going in as blind as you did.
Yeah.
I'm going to tag Bianca's businesses, both of them. If you're in Sydney, get yourself to a Social Sparks event, and you absolutely probably need to sign up to her email list so you can get the full unedited version of her story, because it is phenomenal, like absolutely phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.